Test. There you go. Good evening, everyone. We want to make sure we have good sound because the meetings are televised. This is our February 21st. This is the regular meeting of the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District. These meetings are live here, and they're also being broadcast via Zoom, so people who are outside can watch us. So some of you kids in the front row, you'll be on camera, and folks in the aisle, if you're within the camera's view. That's pretty good. That was a good one right there. We're bringing this meeting back to order. It's at 1900 hours. Be advised, these meetings are televised. They're on Channel 28, Tri-Valley TV. They're Wednesday and Saturday evenings, Monday, Friday, and Saturday mornings. We're going to begin our meeting tonight like we always do with our flag salute. So I'd like to call up our folks from Maryland. You can have some kids come up. Oh, that's right, Croce. I'm sorry, Croce. The cheetahs. And we'll go on your guys' cue when you start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're reconvening now in an open session, and for those who haven't come before, we're coming out of closed session. We met for about an hour, and any actions that we take in closed session, we report out here in open session. And with that, I'd ask our clerk, Trustee Prusso, to report out any actions taken in closed session.
President Bueno, we have nothing to report.
Thank you very much. Again, this is our regular meeting of the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District, where our primary focus is on the education of the students within the jurisdiction of this agency. During our discussion of each agenda item, there'll be a chance for folks to make a comment and talk on an item. If there's something you'd like to talk about under public comment, you can fill out one of these tan speaker cards and pass it up forward, and we'll call you up in no particular order. If it is on the agenda, then you fill out a blue card and pass it up to one of the folks on the end. It'll make its way up here. In either of those instances, when you come up to speak, we'll call you up by your name. Make sure that the microphone is on so we can capture your voice, get the audio. And for those folks who are in the back, if someone happens to mention something, let's say you're in agreement with it or not, but if you're in agreement, just raising your hand as opposed to the audio, we want to make sure it's captured so that we actually can hear it and we can take notes. If an item is not on the agenda, the TAN cards, because of the Brown Act, we can't comment or interact on those items. So what we would do is we could ask clarifying questions following the inquiry or the questions. Again, the meetings are televised on Channel 28, Wednesday and Saturday evenings, I believe it's at 7 p.m., Monday mornings at 10 a.m., Friday and Saturday mornings at 9. I think they're also that you can go on the internet and you can log on and get them there. We're going to move into section 4. This is any changes to the agenda, and with that, I'd ask our superintendent, Mr. Van Schack, if there's any changes, and list them if there are.
Mr. President, we do have one change to the agenda, and it comes in the form of a modified payment schedule that is attached to item 9.7. The total project cost has been reduced from just over $15,906,000 to $15,889,000. The new payment schedule has been provided to you.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to go into one of our favorite things we do, and this is recognitions. That's why I have all these purple shirts sitting in the front row. So if you could introduce one.
Very excited to introduce Ms. Marty Angelo, the principal at Croce, and she has a number of amazing students she's going to be recognizing this evening.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet, and community. I am Marnie Angelo, the very proud principal of Leo R. Croce Elementary. And it's my honor to share details that showcase Croce's extraordinary student council that's being recognized this evening. This group of dedicated and loyal students have been making a positive impact on our school community, and they are to be commended for their humanitarian efforts to support our local community as well. They organize food drives, participate in Amelia's Socks, collect toiletries for the homeless, and deliver student-made cards to the elderly throughout the year. At the school site level, they meet regularly to share their ideas for supporting school spirit. They make signs and leave chalk messages to reinforce the monthly character trait focus and share their concerns from a student perspective. Their most recent project was Kindness Clips. The students decorated clothespins with positive messages and anonymously clipped them to backpacks around campus with the idea that they would pay it forward. And we are going to be paying it forward to you today. It's been a lot of fun and a huge hit. And they say that imitation is the best form of flattery. So we're excited to see that other schools within our district are also taking on the Kindness Clip Challenge. In closing, I cannot be more proud of this group of students, and there's no doubt in my mind that they will continue to do great things for their school and community. And thank you for this opportunity to publicly recognize this exemplary group of students and the student council coordinators, Patty Santon, Lisa Valverde, and Aaron and Andrew Lockhart. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice job on your hair tonight. Good job, Cheetahs. Good job, Cheetahs. I gotta go right hand. There you go. Perfect. All right. Hi. Good job, Cheetahs. Good job, Cheetahs. Good job. Good job. Good job. Like your sweatshirt. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Nice.
You guys got stuck in the traffic jam.
You guys are gonna come right through, make a little. Thank you very much. Really good job. Oh, thank you. Christy. Slide, slide.
You might not be able to.
One's up. Blue hat, back one. Another hand. We have one more recognition, and we're going to wait 1 sec while everyone kind of files out. And as folks file out, for those who are still standing, and feel free to come in and grab some of the empty chairs. Everyone hit that cold air and said, I'm not going out there.
Change your plans.
That wind's blowing.
Board meeting doesn't look so bad now.
Yeah.
That tells you something.
Sure. Yeah. Don't listen. Don't listen.
From the kids walking by, I got it. Yeah.
All righty.
Yes, who can blame them?
Mr. Van Schack, if you could introduce
All right.
5-2, please.
I certainly will. I am very pleased to introduce Ms. Tammy Rankin, the principal of Mendenhall Middle School. She also has some amazing students to recognize this evening.
She's here. I see her. Working her way through the crowd. I like the logo. The old Chuck Taylors.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet, and community. I am Tammy Rankin, the proud principal of William Mendenhall Middle School. I am excited to recognize 7 of our journalism students who work on our weekly Mustang report. These reports are weekly about activities and awards. They also do PBIS videos and feature students and teachers in special segments. Audrey Kinnison, Sarah Henderson, D.S. Sanger, Anushka Raina, Ayushi Raina, Ryan Harrington, and Catherine Booth. These students work on the broadcast as reports, tech crew, and post-production. We've brought a video for you to enjoy today.
Mustangs, I'm Ayushi.
And I'm Kate.
Welcome to the journalism broadcast for the week of January 30th.
Students, it's not too late to buy your yearbook.
You can have your parents go to yearbookordercenter.com to purchase. They will be sold until they're sold out.
This is a quick reminder to stop wasting food.
Please don't get food from the cafeteria if you don't plan to eat it.
That food could be given to people who really need it.
And if you see any trash, make sure to pick it up and throw it away.
Don't litter and your school will glitter.
Now on to our reporters. For a bit.
I'm here asking PE teachers about their dad jokes.
Okay, here's a dad joke for you. What does the Eiffel Tower and bugs have in common?
I don't know, what do they have in common?
They're both parasites.
Okay, thank you.
What do you call an elder snowman?
I don't know.
Water.
Did you hear about the kidnapping at school?
I didn't.
It all worked out. The kid woke up.
That was pretty funny.
For some more fun, we have leadership here to talk to us about music bingo.
Hi Mustangs, I'm Taylor Conover, your third period leadership president.
And I'm Reese Zerker, your third period leadership vice president.
We're here today to tell you about Music Bingo. Music Bingo will be February 17th, and it's different than regular bingo because we'll be playing music instead of calling out numbers. If you hear a song that's on your bingo card, you're going to cross it out.
The bingo cards might look like this, or a little different.
We are going to have food trucks that are going to open at 5 o'clock. The 2 food trucks we're going to have are Marty's Joint, which is comfort food, and Nana Bears, which is mini donuts.
If you win bingo, you will get a prize.
And bingo starts at 6. You can eat your food while you're playing bingo.
And bingo is located in the MPR.
And tickets are $7. You can buy them on our online website now.
Go Mustangs!
Thanks for the information, leadership.
And coming up for the 7th grade girls is Tech Trek.
The Tech Trek is a week-long scholarship STEM camp. If you're interested, submit a letter of interest to your science teacher, including who you are and why you want to go. Finally, the spelling bee is coming on Thursday, February 9th.
The first round is a written test. All students are invited to participate.
Tests will be during both lunches. This week, our reporters are in Miss Carpenter's class for some very dark facts.
We're here at Miss Carpenter's classroom asking the students about some medieval Europe facts.
The population of London went up 500% between the 12th century and the 14th century.
My name is Naman, and in medieval Europe, people sometimes used eels as currency.
Hi, my name is Verdon, and one fact about medieval Europe is that the life expectancy was about 21 to 31 years.
Thank you for those bleak facts. And to close us off, people will be on campus in March rewarding people who know and practice the Mustang musts. Your teachers will continue to acknowledge you for practicing the Mustang musts. Hey, Kate, thanks for being responsible and respectful by showing up for this broadcast.
Hey Ayushi, thank you for being safe because you walked here instead of running.
For Mustangs,
Be safe,
be responsible, and, what's the last one?
be respectful.
Have a great week.
So every Monday, our students get to view one of these videos that our students have created. So it's very exciting. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Nice job. Nice job, reporter. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. As folks are moving out. Yeah, thank you. As folks are moving out, feel free, the folks that are still standing up, there should be plenty of seats. Everyone can have a seat during the transition here. You see we have student board member reports. Oh, yeah, 5.3.
Delay it. Take a
Please.
wait. All right, one final recognition this evening. A very significant one for tonight. We honor Susan Kinder, who is participating in her final board meeting. Next week, she hands over the reins to Teresa Fiskus after having served 2 decades as the head of our business department. Whether her title has been CBO or assistant superintendent, her job has been the same. She has been the person who has had the primary responsibility of ensuring fiscal solvency for our district. Though the waters have been choppy at times, we have always maintained a solid standing and have avoided the troubles that have plagued others in the state of California. Ms. Kinder is one of the most senior business officials in the Bay Area and is often called upon to advise others. And her relationship with the Alameda County Office of Education has been a critical component to our financial success. Of course, we wish her the best in retirement, but we also want to let her know that she will be missed and that her legacy of solid fiscal management will endure. And now for some embarrassing photos.
Thank you, Mr. Van Schack.
Say something. Thank you, everybody. That was very sweet.
Thank you.
No speech.
Yes.
Can I say something? Am
Yes.
I allowed to?
Yes, you are.
I just wanted to, I wanted to thank Susan for making numbers make sense, for being willing to ask many questions. And I know that there are supposed to be no stupid questions, but I know I asked her some really stupid questions. And she was very patient with me, and I appreciate her kindness and her patience. Susan truly cares about our students, our community, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention that she's an amazing chicken mom. So we are going to miss her, but are happy and excited for her next adventures. So thank you, Susan.
Thank you very much. Trustee Guzman?
Thank you. Also, I met you several years ago when I was on the oversight committee for one of the parcel tax, and like Trustee Prusso said, you did explain things very well, so thank you. And it's great working or being associated with a district that's not in deficit. So, fabulous.
Thank you very much. Trustee John?
I know that I'm kind of new here, but I just wanted to say that, you know, both my parents were in education, and, you know, being in education, I know that there's lots of opportunity costs for why you chose to stay with the school district. And we've benefited greatly from those choices. And so I just really appreciate your dedication to students and faculty and staff in the schools.
Thank you very much. Trustee Wong?
Susan, I also met you years ago on the Measure and Parcel Tax Oversight Committee, and I always thought of myself as a numbers person until I met you and was on that committee. You are a numbers person, and we're so fortunate that we've had you as our numbers person all these years, and really appreciate your long service to our district. And all the phone calls you took from me when I decided to run for school board, and since I've been on school board, when I don't understand something or need how school budgeting works explained to me once again. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And some of you will hear me use the word convoluted when it references funding. I came out of government my whole life, not in the school side, and the funding that we get primarily from the state is convoluted, to say the least. And to be able to manage that for 2 decades and keep us above water, floating, even when we were a low wealth district, and all of those things to be able to float. And I've been on this board as my 9th year, always with clear reports through the auditor. It's a remarkable accomplishment. A lot of places, the reason that Ms. Kinder's advice is sought is because it's sound advice and it's long advice. You played the long game and you kept this district afloat, and the opportunities and the trust that this community has for our education. You know, we're fortunate. We have 2 big national laboratories, very highly educated population in Livermore. But one of the things that helps benefit our children is the fact that we have community trust. And the trust in most institutions of government is based on their fiscal responsibility. And that falls squarely on Susan's shoulders for 2 decades. That is not an easy task. It's a near impossible task, and you did it well. So it's big shoes to fill. And I know you never say big shoes for the woman, but it's big shoes. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move into 6. And this is an opportunity. We have our 2 comprehensive high schools, Livermore and Granada, have representation that comes over and they fill us in on what's going on. So Mackenzie wasn't able to make it last month, and Loudon did a great job of saying, how about them Cowboys? So this week, Mackenzie Ware's in, and so she's going to give us the update on Livermore.
Hi. All right. Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet and Community. LHS's spring activities have been ramping up. Recently, both of our winter formal dances, we had a winter formal dance and our Operation Needle Drop Rally, which went amazingly. Coming up, we have Class Cowboy and Girls Powder Puff football to be excited about. However, first, our Cowboys must tackle finals week. Finals will be held Wednesday, Thursday, and the dates are March 1st and 2nd, and We hope that you can wish us luck as we finish our second trimester strong and start our final trimester of the 2022-2023 school year. Our girls and boys varsity soccer teams brought home 2 wins to seal off their incredible seasons. Our varsity wrestling team just finished NCS, where they did very well, with some wrestlers placing in the top 10 to potentially compete in state championships. With all of these new spring sports, there will be no free time for our Cowboys this spring. Our girls' stunt team has just started their season with their first game coming up in just a few weeks. Our varsity baseball team just played Castro Valley High School this past Friday as their first game and left the field with a 2-1 win. Our girls and boys lacrosse season has just begun with their first games happening this week against St. Vincent High School and Stockton High School. Our boys tennis and volleyball teams our boys golf, tennis, and volleyball teams have all started practicing for their seasons, and our awesome track and field team is already galloping around the track right after school. I can't wait to see what our awesome student athletes can do this spring. Just as another reminder, we are still working towards raising money to send to our fabulous chamber and orchestra symphonic band to Carnegie Hall in New York City. In order for all members of the programs to be able to attend, fundraising is happening on GoFundMe. If you are interested in helping LHS band members by donating, please look up Help Livermore High Musicians Play at Carnegie Hall on the GoFundMe website. Thank you, and remember, today is a great day to be a cowboy.
Thank you very much. And now, Loudon Philbrick.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet, and community. As the second trimester comes to a close, students are preparing for their upcoming finals next week. Athlete Breakfast, which is a free breakfast provided by leadership to congratulate our athletes, is taking place tomorrow, February 22nd. The staff luncheon, which is also provided by leadership, is a delicious lunch provided to the staff for their hard work throughout the trimester. This will also be taking place tomorrow on February 22nd. Another exciting event that is coming up is the annual Granada Spirit Games competition. Spirit Games is 2 weeks of Spirit Weeks in which students form teams and compete against each other in order to determine who is the most spirited. We had 4 wrestlers qualify for the CIF state tournament. Lauren Wynn became the first female NCS champion for Granada. S.J. Martin, Eric Anderson, and Jason Victoria also qualified. The boys wrestling team finished 3rd overall in the NCS team standings, and the girls wrestling team placed 4th. Girls basketball plays tonight in the NCS Division I semifinals against James Logan after beating Cal High and Castro Valley last week. With a win, they will qualify for the CIF state tournament. Boys basketball play Doherty Valley tomorrow night in the NCS Open Division semifinals. They have already qualified for the CIF state tournament. Boys soccer lost in the first round of the NCF playoffs last week to Doherty Valley. We're wishing good luck to all of our incredible athletes, but remember to stay classy, Granada.
Thank you very much. And I have to mention, as a former wrestling coach, in the biggest state in the union, California is unique in wrestling. So for Lauren Nguyen to be the 6th ranked wrestler in the state, in California, there's only one division in wrestling. There's 9 or 10 in football. Most states have multiple divisions. But when you're the 1st ranked, 2nd ranked, that's out of all population. It's a significant accomplishment. So, yeah, big deal. Got a good program over there. Thank you. All right, we're going to move into Section 7, Employee Association Reports. And we're going to start this evening with Livermore Education Association President, making her way up here, Amy Thompson. Good evening.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, Superintendent Van Schack, members of the Board and Cabinet. I'm Amy Thompson, President of the Livermore Education Association. I'm pleased to report that LEA members have ratified the salary negotiation agreements with a 97% yes vote. There are a few members here with me tonight to say thank you. We appreciate the support of our school board and our district in making meaningful improvements to compensation before the March hiring season. This will have a positive impact on our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. It was like vaudeville. And I don't believe here tonight is Stephanie Wagner. She is our president for CSEA, the California State Employees Association. And then Kirsty Governor with SEIU. And our confidential is Lily Lopez, is their pres. We're going to move into section 8, which is communication from the public. And communication from the public is a time for our public to comment either in writing or verbally on any item that is not on the agenda, previously mentioned as the tan cards. Now, we, the board, may listen to the comments, and we may ask staff clarifying questions following the comments, but we can neither discuss nor take action at this meeting on topics that are not on the agenda, and this is in accordance with the Brown Act, which is state law. So if you would like to address a topic that is not on this evening's agenda, now would be the time to do so. It's a 3-minute, and at about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you'll see a timer come up, and we'll make sure that your microphone is on. And then please be polite to our speakers so that we can hear everyone's comments. And our first one this evening is on school issue is Alexandria Izaraz.
Is it on or no?
Yes, it is.
Oh, perfect.
You're on.
Okay. Good evening, board. Last board meeting, a father spoke about a poster in a school hallway that said, "Your gender is your choice." I wanted to add a little bit to his statement. I understand speaking about this issue is controversial. In doing so, I will be labeled transphobic or homophobic, hateful things I've been called for months now. But I am not afraid of anything, which is what a phobia is, and it is not wrong to stand up for truth. I want to be very clear with this next point. The parents or students who speak up against these issues are not hateful. I do not hate anyone. I love all people and all students, including those in the LGBTQ community. I love these children very much, but to not agree with something is okay. To not agree with the lifestyle because of my biblical principles is okay. I don't call you hateful because you don't agree with my life or beliefs, but that is besides the point. These children are being told their gender is their choice, further confusing them into a place of depression and anxiety. Students are being told they can flip their gender like the flick of a switch. Children are able to have one phone call meeting with to be prescribed harmful medications to change their gender, adjust their hormones. People from organizations like Gays Against Groomers and those in the LGBTQ community are speaking against these harmful practices harming our children. People who have transitioned are speaking out, warning of the effects that come from choosing your gender. I'll be very clear. Students absolutely deserve to feel safe and respected in school. Every student, not just some students. I am fighting for the safety and well-being of every student. But school is a place for learning the necessities needed to have a successful education. We like to say this poster is freedom of speech, but if my son were to put up a Jesus Loves You poster, would that be okay? Because honestly, that is what these children need, to know they are loved and accepted just as they are, not that they need to change. If an LGBTQ student is having a hard time in school or being bullied or disrespected, there needs to be repercussions, and they deserve to feel safe. Counseling and a safe teacher or teachers to speak with should be available. But the politicizing of LGBTQ issues and pushing this agenda on vulnerable kids who are struggling with their identities, decisions, mental health, and who need their parents to help make important decisions, this should not be happening at school. Changing your gender is a deep decision that needs a lot of thought and counseling, not something that is to be decided day to day. To every community member and student listening, Jesus loves you just the way you are. I hear you, I see you, you are loved no matter what it may seem. One last thing, it has come to my attention that members of your teachers union in the LEA, teachers in our district, teachers sitting in this room right now, are online publicly bashing parents and students for having different beliefs or speaking out. Every parent has a right to their own opinion, but when you are someone working with our children, or our children may have you as a teacher, it comes across as bullying when these grown adults are publicly bashing parents, or even worse, students. I have seen hateful things said about myself, other parents, as well as my child who has spoken out, and to see the comments and the backlash that has come from it is truly sad. We are adults, and at the end of the day, we should, at the very least, show each other kindness and decency. Thank you.
All right. And our next speaker is James Grippy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I come to speak tonight to all the parents in the community. I doubt the board will actually hear anything that I have to say. However, for those of you listening and actually want to have an open mind, you need to know what's going on in your schools, because I guarantee you really don't. Or to those people that actually put trust in our public schools to educate our children rather than indoctrinate our children into this gender culture war that has become this wild fascination with our school district and so many others around the country. I'm in no way anybody's minion or sheep. I'm not ignorant. I'm not unaware about what's going on. I'm a lion who stands up for what is right for our innocent children and those who are too afraid to speak up because of what you and your fellow sheep may say. I see through your smokescreen. I want full transparency. I know that's hard for you probably to do, but I want full transparency as to what this board has discussed about that poster I mentioned last meeting, because it is violation of the district's freedom of speech policy 5145.2. And to those books that have they been removed from your libraries? They need to be, and I need to know why they haven't. I want full transparency, because it's all on video, as to how you plan to give a teacher's 15% pay raise when you stated that even a 5% pay raise would mean drastic cuts. Clarify to us tonight, what are the cuts? If you cannot clarify the cuts, then I suggest we put a plan in place for school choice, and that the 12 to 14,000 per student go back to each student, to their families, to make a choice of school that they want their children to attend. The school choice plan will not only hold all of you accountable, but it will put my tax dollars to better use than the dismal test scores that you guys are now producing. This is not a political issue. I don't care how you vote or if you vote at all. What I do care about is all our children and their well-being. I care about the value of their innocence and their personal growth. Leave our kids out of your ideological agenda and get back to educating our children, reading, writing, arithmetic, science. Stop putting your political and ideology into my schools. I will end with this. If you cannot clarify to our community what cuts you plan on taking to give teachers a 15% pay raise, and cannot confirm that that poster has been removed along with those inappropriate books, I'm going to have to ask for each of you to immediately resign your position. I stand up for my kids.
Okay, our next speaker is Emily Wilson. Good evening.
Good evening. Is this, okay. Good evening, Board President Bueno, Superintendent Van Schack, members of the board, cabinet, and community. My name is Emily Wilson, and I'm a lifelong Livermore resident and currently substitute teaching in our schools. During Black History Month and throughout the year, we should be prioritizing and protecting our Black students in schools, teaching all students accurate history in a respectful way, and providing continuous education and training required for all of our school staff and administration. In summer of 2020, I was part of a group of youth organizers that collaborated on a list of demands for our school district. After 1 or 2 meetings with our previous superintendent, all racial issues brought to the district and promises to make change were put to the side because of COVID. We're now in a better place with managing COVID and keeping our schools safe through this pandemic. Now it is time to put action into creating a safe campus for Black students and students of color at all of our schools. There have been multiple incidents of racist language being used on campus and on social media. In my first few weeks on campus, I've heard the N-word being used by multiple students, as well as the F slur and the R slur, but I'm trying to focus on one issue right now. We still have students sharing experiences of their teachers using the N-word or singling out and asking a Black student to say the N-word when reading certain books in English classes. There needs to be policies or guidance from the district, because these incidents should not be tolerated, and we need to re-envision how to hold ourselves and our students accountable when using harmful and hateful language, whether on campus or on social media. Staff and administration need required education on the history behind certain words and continuous training to foster a safer environment on our campuses. As we know, language in our society is constantly evolving, which is why education needs to be continuous and required for all staff. There is a group of students and some staff already having meetings at Granada where we are looking into trainings and how students and staff can feel safe and supported when dealing with various scenarios that happen on campus. Because right now, a lot of students are afraid to speak up because they feel like they aren't going to get that support. And the students are passionate, they're taking initiative to create change, and we're just looking for more support and guidance from the district. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Alrighty, that concludes our public comment cards. And we'll go ahead and close public comment. And we're going to go to correspondence, 8.2B. Formal written correspondence to the Board of Education shall be acknowledged if received by the board or in the superintendent's office by 4 p.m. the day before our meetings. Formal written correspondence received after the cutoff time will generally be acknowledged at the following meeting. And just a note on that, our board electronic communications that are received via the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District website with all the fields completed and verified shall be treated as formal written correspondence. So I'd ask our clerk, Trustee Pruso, if there is any, if you could summarize, please.
I can, Mr. President. Thank you. We did get some correspondence from Stephanie Wagner, the CSEA president, Kirsten Governor, SEIU president, and Amy Thompson, LEA president, wrote a joint statement informing the board that there is a shared interest among bargaining units in developing a consistent system to be used district-wide for conducting compensation comparisons. And that is the conclusion of our correspondence.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move into our discussion items. Mr. Van Schack, could you introduce 9-1, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Very happy to reintroduce Ms. Marty Angelo. She's going to provide the board and the community with a report about Leo Croce Elementary School.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet and community. I am Marty Angelo, still the proud principal of Leo R. Croce Elementary. I'd like to talk about the highlights from our year. The first one is our Pivotal Practice, California Pivotal Practice Award, which we earned last year. And that was for the something that we had put into place during COVID when the students returned from school in person. Half of them, well, most of them returned in school in March of 2021. And some of them still stayed home, but we knew that coping with being back in school after COVID was going to be difficult. So we created some coping kits for each student, whether they were home or at school. And then they were also trained, and we had specific lessons on how to use those coping kits in the classroom. And that has even led to calming corners that we still have in our classrooms today that have been used quite frequently. We have also earned our Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports Gold Award, and we are hoping to do the same again this year. Our teachers and our staff and students work really hard to meet the expectations of being responsible, respectful, and safe at school. We're very proud of universal access, which we have just put into place this year. And I'm also very proud of our COST team, our Coordination of Services team. We meets every other week to discuss students that maybe need behavioral, academic, or behavioral, social, emotional support. And to date, we have had 83 referrals to that, to the COST team. And we are making sure that each of those students are receiving the services they need to be supported and successful in school. And of course, you already heard about my student council, and they are fabulous. So we're very excited about all the things that they're doing this year. And it's really nice now that we are somewhat post-COVID to be able to do more school-wide events, which they've been really planning for us. The demographics at our school, we continue to be a rather diverse campus, which we fully embrace. We do a lot of community building. Like I said, our student council does quite a bit. We have a very active PTA, and we're always seeking out ways to build our school community. We have an events committee this year that has been putting on some fabulous assemblies for us, and each grade level puts on their own assembly as well, and it's based on a character trait of the month. And we even had Christy come out and be our mascot for us on quite a few occasions. She's always a hit. She's always up there dancing around. And another thing that we're very proud of at Croce is our preschool program. So it's very unique to Croce. We have 75 students in attendance in 6 different classrooms, and there are 3- and 4-year-olds with an IEP. Our school success data, we are really pleased with the panorama results that we received last year. So we have 81 of our students that were reported to have a very positive connection with the teachers and staff at school. And we know how important that is to meet the needs of our students' social, emotional behavior, because without that, we can't get through them and do the academic piece of our day. So we're always celebrating our student diversity. We're creating safe and inviting spaces, and we take an interest in them. And we're always looking forward to strengthening our PLCs. We know that now that we have that positive connection, that we can really focus on the academic piece. So with our grade level PLCs, they're meeting regularly, once a week. And we also have some designated times thanking the, sorry, let me start over again. Very thankful to have the curriculum department because they have offered us some articulation half days for our grade level teams. So they spend a considerable amount of time discussing the data that they're pulling from the students. So with that data, we have universal access time, which is, we call WIN, which stands for what I need time, and that's 30 to 40 minutes a day that the grade level will shift students around in their grade level. And each teacher will take on a different subject, phonemic awareness or comprehension or fluency, something to develop their literacy skills. For math, we're still using Dreambox, and we know from last year that the students who were using Dreambox on a very regular basis were having success with their overall math scores on CASP too. So that is another focus for us. I already touched a bit on this already. We do have 50 EL students at school, English learners, and 33% of them are moving up 1 grade level on LPAC, which is rather significant, but we still have things that we need to work on. So our designated ELD happens 30 minutes every day. Students are getting support just for their language skills so they can become proficient in English. And our Easy CBM's fluency skills for reading for 1st and 3rd grade, the scores that are up there are from last year, and we will have a more accurate reading of how well our universal access is working after we finished our testing this month. So that will be wrapping up this week, and then I'll have more data for you, and I'd be happy to share that with you. But from what we're seeing and hearing from the classroom teachers, that universal access time is really helpful, and that students are carrying over what they're learning in those smaller groups into what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So as I mentioned before, we have our student wellness centers are already going on in the classroom, and we're looking to build one for our staff as well. Win time is very important to us, and we want to continue doing that and then branch out and offer the same thing for math for next year. One thing that we're very, very proud of and we're super excited for is our One School, One Book project. So last year, all of the students read the same book at the same time. And every day when they would come back to class, the teachers would discuss with them what they learned in that chapter. We would do some Trivial Pursuit games and contests to see how they're comprehending that story. But it was just nice to really build a full community. And we're going to be doing the same thing again this year. And I cannot reveal the name of the book because they haven't learned about it yet. But it will be their gift in 2 weeks. And that is all that I have for you today. Did you have any questions?
Thank you very much. We'll begin with Trustee Guzman.
Thank you for sharing this. I wrote down your acronym WIN, What I Need Time. So
Yes.
I thought that was really great, and that's something I'm going to use just at home as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Trustee Prusso.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
I do have a question for you. So I know you're still waiting on data for the universal
Yes.
access time, but you did notice that your teachers have noticed some improvement. Is there other ways to assess to see how that's working, or how are they noticing that? And
They're
then-
noticing it in their, sorry.
Oh,
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Just in their day-to-day work, they're noticing, for instance, in their writing, they're seeing a significant gains in their spelling, for instance. We have our kindergarten students who didn't know any letters or sounds, who now know more than half. And that's just, over maybe a month or two of really practicing those during WIN time. Our fifth grade teachers are noticing more fluent readers, right? Comprehension skills are going up. And that's just from just whatever assessments that they're giving in class, like for our benchmark assessments. Some of them are using Still Accelerated Reader, and they're basing it on that too, that their scores are doing better.
So is this this is the first year you guys are doing the universal?
Yes.
Okay. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this spring when the assessments.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. I also love the One School, One Book. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. You should come out.
Yeah,
March
let us
6th,
know.
I believe, is our assembly.
All right.
Our
Thank
big
you.
kickoff, yes.
Thank you very much. Trustee Wong.
I don't have any questions. Just want to thank you for your dedication to your school and your students and staff. I always love visiting there, whether I'm in a fuzzy costume or not, though I get to be my true self when I have that costume on. So just thank you for all you do at Croce.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Trustee Druin.
I just had two clarifying questions. Acronyms, there's about 1 million of them, and there's two that I
course.
didn't recognize on slide 4.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Support Intervention Specialist Letters Training. What is Letters Training?
LETTERS stands for Language Essentials for teachers of reading and spelling. And it's something that's being offered through our curriculum department. So we have 3 teachers that attend LETTERS training. And it's really just teaching them the fundamentals of how to teach. So they're working on phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, and written language. And they're just best practices really for teaching.
Awesome. And then just beneath that was regarding attendance rate was work with CWA.
Oh, sorry, our child welfare and attendance clerk.
Yep, thanks. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ready. 9-2,
All right,
please.
thank you, Ms. Angelo. I will invite Ms. Rankin to come back up, and she is going to provide a report about Mendenhall Middle School.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Board President Bueno, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, Cabinet, and community. I am Tammy Rankin, the principal of William Mendenhall Middle School. Today, I'm here to share some information about our school. I'd like to share some awards that we've received. We received the California PBIS Gold Level Award in 2022, which we were really excited about. the California Pivotal Practice Award in 2022, and that was about our social emotional lessons that our kids are learning from our counselors weekly. And then we're really excited that we were just announced a California Schools to Watch for 2023, so that's exciting. I also included some pictures here of some athletic awards with students that they've received this year. And I also wanted to touch on, if you go to the fair, a lot of our woodshop students receive lots of awards there, so go to the fair and look for our woodshop awards. This year I received several emails from community members that were excited after they saw our students' work at the fair. So. William Mendenhall Middle School is our biggest middle school, 883 students this year. And it shows you the demographics here, 50% white, 20% Asian, 19% Hispanic Latino, 10% two or more races, and then 3% English learners, 12% students with disabilities, and 16% socioeconomically disadvantaged. I included a picture here of some of our students that love to get their pictures taken. And they always, whenever the yearbook or the journalism class is out at lunch, they jump in. And I like this picture. It was from Halloween. Our student success data. When looking at our data, 70% of our students met or exceeded standards in English language arts this year. Some of the things we're doing to improve our test scores is this year we have different homework clubs. We have a science homework club that meets 1 day a week, a math homework club that meets 1 day a week, and then a core homework club that meets 1 day a week. Teachers also are available after school or before school to help students, but this is a way for students to go see another teacher. And teachers rotate who's going to be in those clubs. And then our ELD class. And our ELD class also has a homework club that meets regularly to help support the students in all of their classes. In math, 52% of students met or exceeded standards. And once again, our homework clubs, our teacher help, and our ELD class and our ELD homework club are things that we're doing to help to improve our math scores. We also have 3 math intervention classes that we're proud of, a 6th grade, a 7th grade, and an 8th grade math intervention class. And what those classes do is pre-teach or reteach the math that's being taught in the classroom. Students are graded on participation and attendance, so we want them to participate and attend the class, basically so that they can learn their math. They also, what's been nice is their confidence is brought up by being in the class. Passing grades, 94% of students have A's, B's, and C's in their classes. And one of the things that I think really helps with that is roundtable meetings. As soon as teachers see that students are struggling, we have roundtable meetings. Ms. Grace and I are in probably a roundtable meeting almost every morning. And we bring in parents and the student and all the teachers. And we sit and talk about how we can help the student. What do we need to do to support the student in passing their classes? Sometimes we bring in the counselor if we need to. And then we have a check-in, check-out process that we use for students out of our COST program. The teacher help, homework clubs, ELD class, and our math intervention classes also help here. In our panorama data, 49% of students are reporting positive connection. And we've reported, one of the things that we're using are WEB, which is Where Everyone Belongs. That's a program where 7th and 8th grade students volunteer before school starts to welcome our 6th graders. And then through the year, the 6th graders have 7th and 8th graders that they know that they can ask questions or help with. PBIS, our counselor, our leadership classes, our leadership students go into classes twice a week to talk about their activities and try to encourage students to participate. We have many clubs on campus. We have library helpers, athletics. Our electives are a way for students to feel connected to our school, and our journalism class also helps with their videos that you saw earlier. So that those are things that we do to help to have students make connections. Student readiness data. 44% of students increased their overall level of our EL students. And what are we doing there? We have our ELD class that we're really proud of, and then designated ELD instruction and integrated ELD instruction in our classrooms. 91% of level 4 English learners were reclassified, and our integrated ELD instruction is helping there. Suspensions, 1.8% or 16 students were suspended. And what are we doing? We saw our PBIS video. We do PBIS videos for behavior on how we want students to act at school. And we talk about it, how we want them to act in different areas of our school. And we also talk about it when we meet with students after they've made a choice that was not a good choice. And so we have lots of discussions about how we can act differently the next time. So we really try to use our journalism videos to help with that. Let students help us teach that to our students. And then before school starts, at the beginning of the year, our teachers go through how our PBIS slides, we want them to act in every area. And so by the end of after sixth period, I think that they understand. They know what our goals are. Chronic office referrals, 0.11%, had 4 or more referrals, and that's 1 student. And once again, our Swiss data, journalism videos, and PBIS helps with that. Projects for the year. We want to challenge students academically while meeting the needs of all students. We feel like we want to meet students where they are and then try to challenge them where they're at. Continue positive behavior interventions and supports, PBIS. We meet monthly, if not more, just to help to see what we can do to support our students. Share weekly principals letter to the community, and then broadcast weekly information and PBIS videos to students. So that way we're speaking to the community and our students. Build upon and explore leadership activities that are inclusive for all students. So spirit days, lunch activities, socials, bingo night. We get over 700 students at our socials, which is a lot of students. And our lunchtime activities are really fun. They're from, trivia or races. They're just fun activities that what the leadership students do is try to find activities that any student would want to do, or a different community of our students would do each time. Improve academic skills through designated ELD classes, increase math knowledge through our intervention math classes, and then support students through our homework clubs, which have been popular this year. At the top there, I have a picture of our leadership students welcoming students at Webb. So I thought that was fun because that's welcoming all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have no cards on this, so we'll close public comment, and we'll start with Trustee Prusso.
First, I want to say thank you for coming and presenting, and also that Mendenhall is, I feel like there's quite a special community on campus when you're on there. It feels like a warm, fuzzy place. So that's a great tribute to your leadership kids and all of you. All of you who are trying to make those connections, because I feel it when I'm on campus. And you also have some really cool things like the journalism and the wood shop that I think some of our other schools don't have. So I think that's really unique and exciting. I just had one question, which was about the math intervention. And my question about that, is that in addition to their regular math class?
Yes.
Okay.
So they take it 0 period before school starts.
Okay.
So they come in during 0 period and take that class before. And so they are able to ask questions from their homework the night before.
Nice.
And get pre-teaching before they take their math class during the day.
Okay, that's great. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Wong?
I was always also going to ask when the intermission is, so are the ELD classes also 0 period?
ELD is not 0 period. It's
Oh,
their
okay.
elective.
So that's not in addition to their regular?
But if you ever want to come, our ELD class is wonderful, and the kids are so excited to be in there, and some of them have told me it's their favorite class. So that's exciting.
That's great. On Panorama, where it says 49% report positive connection, which, knowing middle school and having gone through it myself, that's pretty good, 49%. And I see the planned actions. Do you have a goal for what you're trying to get to Or
Well, we like every student to feel like they had a connection, but, so what we do is just try to make connections like through leadership and journalism so that every student knows what we're doing on campus so that they can join some activity.
Okay, so you're not setting like by next year we want to be here and the year after at this.
We haven't yet.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Joy?
I just wanted to say that I think it's fantastic. When I think about classroom management, I mean, you understand it on multiple levels, right? Smiling, having engaged sixth graders and, the roundtable, PBIS, having electives, having it be 0 periods so that those students continue to take electives so that they feel like they belong. It's really impressive to see that level of thinking that engaged students are students that want to be successful. They're less likely to misbehave. So it's just great. Great work.
Thank you.
Trustee Guzman?
Yeah. My question is in regards to the leadership class. As a middle school, how does the elective work? Is it mixed grades? Is it leadership per grade?
So leadership is 7th and 8th grade, and we have 2 classes of leadership. And so one is 3rd period, one is 4th period. And so all of those students go out every Monday and every Friday to interact with the students and let them know what's going on during the week. And then the 3rd period class does 4B lunch, and the 4th period class does 4A lunch. So they do activity, go out at lunch and help with the activities.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the update. Really good. And I like the way that, I think some of those things are clearly affecting the outcome. Things celebrating championships and having a lot of clubs for the kids to join. And the fact that you have one out of nearly 900 kids, you have one kind of recurring chronic office referral. It's just, I think you're taking the positive approach, and the positive approach is giving good outcomes. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tammy. Next, we have Assistant Superintendent Kelly Mankey. She's going to provide a sequence, actually, of items regarding the sunshining and the preparation to begin negotiations with 2 of our employee groups. And so I will let her run through 9.3, 9.4, 9.5, and 9.6.
Good evening, Board President Bueno, Superintendent Van Schack, members of the board, and cabinet. So I'm going to introduce you to our public hearing today, which is our contract reopeners for our successor agreement with the Service Employees International Union, SEIU. So we are the district, LVJUSD, is submitting contract reopeners for successor agreement, which is effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. And we propose to sunshine the entire collective bargaining agreement, including all articles and appendices. And this proposal is presented to the board for public input. So at this time, I ask that you open the public hearing, receive public comments, and close the public hearing.
Okay. Checking, we have no cards on this. So we will open the public hearing as board president. And having no cards, we will close the public comment. Any input from the board at all? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, and so the next one is acknowledgement of receipt of the Service Employees International Union Sunshine Letter. So SEIU is submitting contract reopeners for successor agreement, which is July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. SEIU proposes to sunshine the entire collective bargaining agreement, including all articles and appendices, and this proposal is presented to the board. Superintendent's recommendation is to acknowledge the receipt of Service Employees International Union Sunshine Letter.
Okay. Yeah, there's no vote on it. It's on just a discussion item, so duly noted.
Nope, it's just
And this isn't the opening of a public hearing, but just looking at comment cards, we have no comment cards on 9.4. So we're going to close the public comment on this, and we can move right into any board questions or inquiries on 9.4. All right, then we'll go right
Nope.
into 9.5, please.
Next one, another public hearing. So this one is for our contract reopeners for a successor agreement with the California School Employees Association, CSEA, which is effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. CSEA, or we would like to, sorry, we're in the CSEA, but this is on behalf of the district. So we are submitting contract reopeners for a successor agreement. And we propose to sunshine Article 1 of the agreement, Article 8, which is vacation plan, Article 11, leaves, Article 13, pay and allowance, Article 15, salary rules, Article 16, health and welfare benefits, 18, transfers and promotions, 19, professional growth, 24, reopener, and 25, duration. And this proposal is presented to you and to the public for input. So at this time, our recommendation is to open the public hearing, receive public comments, and close the public hearing.
Okay, as board president, I open the public hearing on this item, and we have no cards. So we are going to close the public portion of this. Any questions from the board on this? Okay. That's it. If we can go to 9.6, please.
Thank you. So the next one is our acknowledgement of receipt of the California School Employees Association, CSEA, Sunshine Letter. So CSEA is submitting contract reopeners, and they are submitting Articles 1, 8, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, 24, and 25. And this proposal is presented to the board. Superintendent's recommendation is to acknowledge the receipt of CSEA's Sunshine Letter.
Okay, looking, we have no cards on this, so we'll close the public comment portion. Any board input on this? Just a discussion item. All right, duly noted, we received it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to clarify for the board and the community, relate that the purpose of this sequence is, number one, it's required by labor code, that prior to negotiations beginning, we give the opportunity for the community to make comments about any of the articles that we're about to discuss during the negotiation process. It isn't common for the community to comment, but it's required by labor law to provide them that opportunity. So this is a sequence that we go through. This is a 3-year agreement. So in the off years, we have obviously fewer articles that are up for discussion, but each of our employee associations this year is having what's called a successor agreement, which is a 3-year conversations about a 3-year deal. So that's why we kind of had to go through the significantly lengthy sequence of events. Okay, so I will now invite Ms. Susan Kinder as one of her final acts as Assistant Superintendent to provide to the board and the community some information about an energy conservation services contract with ENGIE. Susan?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack, and Cabinet. So tonight, here's another public hearing for you. This is on our utility savings and infrastructure modernization project. So as some background, the district issued a request for proposal or qualifications back in the fall of 2021. And then the board approved the selection of ENGIE through a competitive process in March of 2022. ENGIE then began reviewing our energy usage data and doing site audit walks March through April. And then April through July, they did engineering and design on some measures. They worked closely with our maintenance department and our bond department. We also discussed various funding options at that time. And we had ongoing leadership meetings to discuss preferred and priority measures because the list was very long and we had to narrow it down a bit. And then we've spent some time on the contract. We worked with our legal counsel for a couple of months on reviewing the contract. And so tonight we are bringing a public hearing and hopefully the approval of the energy contract and financing. So California Government Code 4217 allows a school district to construct solar facilities or other types or of energy service or efficiency contracts related to facility ground leases or easements. These contracts can be let without bidding. The public agency may request proposals from qualified persons, which we did. Prior to entering the contract, the district's governing board must hold a public hearing and make findings related to the cost savings, and that's what we're doing tonight. And the anticipated cost, the findings, the anticipated cost under the contract must be less than the anticipated cost of the district in absence of the contract. So the challenges that I'm sure you are very well aware of is that we have aging infrastructure, we have rising electricity and operations and maintenance costs, deferred maintenance and safety updates that are needed. We often do temporary Band-Aids to fix things which end up costing us more. We do not have an unlimited budget, so we have a very limited amount of money and resources to manage the projects. And some of the examples that we are hoping to address with this measure are aging boilers, HVAC units that are past their end of life, aging sewer sump pumps that are at risk of failure, school site expansion resulting in higher electricity consumption, and inconsistent or insufficient classroom lighting. So the program goals are obviously energy savings, operation efficiency and safety, turnkey implementation, and creative funding solutions. So a few of the projects, solar, LED lighting, and transformers, are really low cost with a high amount of savings. But then we have a couple of other things that we'd like done, which is our HVAC and our boiler replacement. Those cost more and have less savings. But if we combine them all together, we're able to make this project pencil out so that we're able to use the savings to pay off the financing. So this is a list of all of our schools. And so we are putting solar at 3 of them: East Avenue, Joe Mitchell, and Livermore High School. These were 3 sites that were passed up the last time we did solar because we had plans for some major construction, which we have completed. And so now we are going to add them to our list. We are going to do LED lighting and controls at every school site. And it's kind of funny because I got my little clip here that says, "Shine your light." So I was like, oh, that's kind of appropriate. We're going to do HVAC upgrades at East Avenue, Jackson, and Junction. And then high-efficiency transformers at Christensen, Granada, and Mitchell. Boiler replacement at Christensen, East, and Granada. Some kitchen cooling equipment improvements at Granada, Livermore, and Maryland. And sump pumps at Maryland and Rancho. And then we also have the STEAM education. So NG would like to work with our curriculum department and partner and help with some STEAM education. So this is probably the first time that I get to actually share pictures in one of my reports. So these are...
Don't get used to it.
I won't. So these are some pictures of some of our current interior lighting that we'd like to retrofit to LED. That's an old transformer that we got there. Existing boilers at Christensen East that need to be replaced. There's HVAC replacements. I'm sure you've seen these before because we've been doing those all over the place. And then here are the solar placements that we're proposing. So East Avenue Middle School on the far left, the solar would be out in the field. And these placements were all determined, they were in conjunction with the bond department to determine best placement, as well as the administration at the sites. Mitchell K-8 would be over the new parking lot. And then Livermore High School would be in the student area. It would give shading to some of the pool. And there was some really good rationale as to why that was a good placement. So if you have questions, we do have Kim McNeely that may be able to answer some of those questions as well. So the program benefits, it's a self-funded project that achieves long-term cost savings. It addresses deferred maintenance. We'll update lighting to improve classroom and learning environments for our students. We're able to take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act, which will provide a little over $810,000 towards our solar. And it's a turnkey project implementation allowing for a streamlined construction experience. So here's the big numbers. So the NG contract total is $15,889,375. And then we're also going to set aside $1,940,000 for owner-controlled contingency. And that would be to pay for our DSA inspectors, lab fees, and any potential unforeseens that may come up. So how that will be funded will be through a tax-exempt lease purchase. It's a 19-year loan at 3.7%. The total funding would be $13,638,427. The district contribution, which would be from reimbursed state funds from our bond project, as well as interest earned on the bond program of $3,380,000, and then, as I mentioned before, the Inflation Reduction Act funding of $810,948. So the projected savings over 25 years is $31,379,75. And of course, some of that will be used to pay back the financing, because we heard loud and clear that the community wanted us to look for other sources of funding besides just raising property tax. And so we listened, and we think this is a great way to fund this project. And then the projected net savings after all that will be just under $10 million. So we think this is a great solution. So we do have the team from NG here to answer questions that you may have, but we ask that you open a public hearing, receive comments and concerns, and then close the public hearing.
Thank you very much. We have no cards on 9-7. We are going to open the public hearing, and in the absence of any cards, we are going to close the public hearing. Any input from board members on this? Trustee Wong?
I just have a quick question. I think you may have said this, but I wasn't sure. You said the solar panels at Christensen will be out in the field. Does that mean like elevated somehow, or?
Yes, they'll be at least 10 feet high. So they'll be probably much like the ones that we have at Mendenhall that are on the field. And we also have them out at Smith in the back. Yeah, so some of our sites have them out on the playground areas.
Oh, so it'll also be shade, and I get it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not on the ground, if that's what you're thinking. Yeah.
Here. Just one of them is just a continued inquiry. Just whenever I see HVAC, I'm going to keep asking the question. Whenever we can do HVAC at Granada, any type of air conditioning in that gym, just on a matter of equity and weather conditions and warming, and we have 2 big gyms there, and they were built without air conditioning, like a lot of the houses out here, but it's almost untenable now. So anything we can do along the line to get air conditioning into those gyms. And then along the line, I've seen some other school districts that have swapped over from old style, even in here, fluorescent technology to LED. And I know the bond department will be on that, but just so it doesn't get lost in translation, is the light spectrum, the coloring of the lighting. It tends to be kind of a key thing. When you put LED lights in, there's a broad spectrum. You can go from blue light all the way down to more of a yellowish light, and that's taken into consideration because it changes a lot, especially in art classes and things like that where colors are vital, as well as in reading.
We will take that into consideration and make sure that NG works with our staff.
I'm sure, all the new stuff that we built is all like that. Okay.
I just want to say one thing. I think it's exciting that we're adding in some STEAM education for our kids too. So I think that's great.
Yeah. Okay. The hearing is closed, and we're going to move into the discussion action items. And so, Mr. Benchak, if you can introduce 10-1.
This is just a follow-up to the public hearing. Now we get to the point where the board has an opportunity to vote for the contract itself. But we'll have Susan.
Okay. Can you take me a second to last slide? we're just going to continue on, because now we want to approve the energy conservation contract with NG, who's here. And we ask that you pull, the superintendent's recommendation is that you pull the resolution 37-2223 and 38-2223 and vote on those separately. And I guess I should say what it is. So the first one is to approving certain energy conservation measures, authorizing the execution of agreements, signatories, and making other determinations in connection therein. And then Resolution 38-2223 is authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease agreement and escrow agreement with Bank of America, and that is bank with a C, Public Capital Corp, relating to the financing of energy efficiency projects to be undertaken pursuant to an agreement with NG and approving related documents and actions. That's a mouthful.
So my question is, we need to approve the energy conservation service contract, and then in addition, approve the resolutions now. You want to do that now instead of later? Pull those and do that now. Is that right?
That's correct. I believe the first resolution has the contract with it.
So we can just do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I right with that?
The one,
Or my attorney out there.
Mr. Benchak, maybe you check on, it's just in terms of pulling those items from the resos. Normally, we would pull them in advance of it and then move the resos. But not acknowledging that as a change to the agenda. It's not, you have to kind of doing it a little bit out of order. So if there's no heartburn with anyone doing it, then we'll go ahead and do that now. We'll pull those two resos, consent resos, and vote on them now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I?
Yes, so you'd make a motion.
Okay. To move them, or are they moved? Are they already moved?
Yeah, rather than go through the whole thing.
Okay.
As presented.
Okay. I move that we approve both resolutions, number 37.
They have to be done separately, though.
Yes.
Oh, they have to be done
They're separate
separately.
actions.
Sorry, thank you. I feel like I keep asking stupid questions.
They're not.
And I'm still not getting it. Okay. I'm going to try one more time.
37.
I move that we, thank you, thanks, Stephen. I move that we approve resolution number 37, 2223. Would you like me to read the whole thing?
Yes, please.
Okay. Approving certain energy conservation measures, authorizing the execution of agreements, signatories, and making other determinations in connection therein.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made by trustee Prusso and seconded by trustee Drone. Any questions on the motion? And Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Trustee Guzman?
Aye.
Trustee Druin?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Trustee Wong?
Aye.
President Bueno?
Aye. That motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And we'd entertain a second motion if you'd like.
Sure. Anyone else? Stephen
Yeah,
looks really
I'll
anxious.
for
Go
it.
ahead,
So I
Stephen.
move to adopt resolution 38-2223, authorizing the execution and delivery of a lease agreement and escrow agreement with Bank of America Public Capital Corp. Relating to the financing of energy efficiency projects to be undertaken pursuant an agreement with NG and approving related documents and actions. And I too verified that bank is spelled correctly there, so.
I will second.
So we have a motion in support of the superintendent's recommendation on this item by trustee Druin, and it's been seconded by trustee Prusso. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Trustee Wong? Myself, aye. Trustee Druin?
Aye.
Trustee Guzman?
Aye.
President Bueno?
Aye. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Got it. We nailed that one.
Like we've done it before.
All right. I think that's how it was structured. It's structured a little bit different than normal.
Could have introduced it and then done those later, but then they would have been stuck by 25 minutes. So we just brought the resolution.
No, so 10-1, the action of 10-1 is pulling the two consent resos. So it's just the way that it was formatted was a little confusing. That was my concern in terms of us acknowledging that it's a change, because it is. And so to kind of clarify it, because it was a little rough, but we got through that one. So now in 10.2, this comes into the sunshine.
So we will return to negotiations, and Assistant Superintendent Ms. Mankey will finish up with SEIU and CSEA, the last two actions we need to take with those tonight.
All right, thank you for having me again. So this is the approval of the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District's sunshine items for SEIU. So the district is submitting contract reopeners for successor agreement effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. And the proposal has been brought for public input. And the district proposes to sunshine the entire collective bargaining agreement, including all articles and appendices. And so superintendent's recommendation is to approve the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District sunshine items.
All right.
Does
Yep.
anyone have-
Yes, there's no public cards on this, so we're going to close the public comment on it. Entertain a motion.
President White, I move that we approve the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District sunshine items. Oh, thank you, SEIU.
Okay. This is just because the slides are a little different.
Is what you vote on.
No, I understand it's an action item, but normally it would say that there's a superintendent's recommendation. Okay, there we go. All right. That's it?
I made a motion.
Yes.
Second.
So, yeah. Just,
fine.
the slides are a
We're
hair
fine.
off.
We're gonna go.
Yeah. So we have a motion by trustee Prusso in support of superintendent's recommendation, and that motion has been seconded by trustee Druin. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Myself, aye. Trustee Druin.
Aye.
Trustee Guzman.
Aye.
Trustee Wong.
Aye.
President Bueno.
Aye. That motion carries 5-0. All right.
I feel like it's our first night again. We're just,
Yeah, into the next one. So this is for approval of the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District sunshine items with the Classified School Employees Association, CSEA. So the district is submitting contract reopeners for successor agreement effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2026. The proposal was brought for public comment. And we are proposing to sunshine the following articles: Article 1, 8, 11, 13, 15, 16, 18, 19, 24, and 25. The superintendent's recommendation is to approve the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District sunshine items. And again, this is with CSEA.
Yep. I can entertain
go?
one. Yes,
You
you
ready?
can. Yes, you
Okay.
may.
President White, I move that we approve of the Livermore Valley Joint Unified School District sunshine items for CSEA.
Thank you.
A second.
We have a motion in support of the superintendent's recommendation, this item by trustee Prusso. It's been seconded by trustee Wong. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Trustee Guzman.
Aye.
Trustee Druin.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Trustee Wong.
Aye.
President Bueno.
Aye. The motion carries 5-0, unanimous. Thank you. All right. Now we're at 10.
Okay.
The rest.
Good?
Yes. Is the HR one?
All right, 10.4, Executive Director of Human Resources, Amy Robbins, going to step forward, and she's going to ask the board to take action on a resolution regarding criteria, tiebreaker criteria in the event of layoffs.
Good evening, President Bueno, Superintendent Van Schack, members of the board. Tonight, I bring to you a report that we do each year as a precautionary measure, and we do not anticipate enacting this. However, tonight, this is a specifying criteria to be used to determine the order of termination of certificated employees with equal seniority, a tiebreaker. So when we look at the timeline for this, if we were to enact this criteria, we bring it forth tonight for adoption to our board meeting, and then any precautionary notices that you may have for staff, certificated staffs for layoff needs would be delivered before March 15th. And those staff members, those precautionary notices would turn into final notices potentially as of May 15th. Again, we do not anticipate needing to utilize this tie-breaking criteria this school year. And so if we were to come to that case where we have equal seniority date, you can see before you the criteria, list of criteria in this order that we review. So those with equal seniority dates, we look at their English learner certification. Do they have that? The second category is the credential. Are they able to teach students with special needs? The third being professional preparedness, master's degree, doctorate degree, board certification for teaching. And the fourth category being experience that they may have outside of the school district or that may not be reflected in their seniority date. After all of those criteria, if all is equal, then there is a lottery to determine which of our employees would receive the precautionary layoff notices. With that, you have a resolution that was attached to this item. It's in front of you. And so the superintendent's recommendation is to adopt by roll call vote resolution number 36-2223, specifying criteria to be used to determine the order of termination of certificated employees, with equal seniority or the tiebreaker.
Okay. We have no public cards on this, so we'll close public comment on this item. I entertain, this is an action item. And the reason this one might seem a little different is because in this case, the resolution is listed in section 10 as an action item, so there's no need to pull it from the reso. So I'd entertain a motion on this.
President Bueno, I move that we approve resolution number 36-2223, specifying criteria to be used to determine the order of termination of certificated employees with equal seniority.
Thank you.
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Prusso in support of the superintendent's recommendation, and that has been seconded by trustee Wong. Any discussion on the motion? And then, Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Trustee Wong?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Trustee Druin?
Aye.
Trustee Guzman?
Aye.
President Bueno.
Aye. That motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, so now making her way to the stage is Ms. Kim McNeely. In the spirit of items that are focused on creative solutions to ongoing challenges that we have for construction, Mr. McNeely is going to share with the board this evening a plan to undergo a major renovation project at Maryland.
Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Van Schack and Cabinet, it is my pleasure this evening to present the Maryland Avenue Elementary STEAM and Renovation Project. Staff is seeking authorization to proceed with this project this evening. So as always, I'll start with a little bit of background for you. In summer of, and let me correct the date, it's 2020. I apologize for the typo, it's not 2018. In summer of 2020, we began the FMP update process and did all of the site analysis that you see there. In June of 2021, then the board approved an updated facilities master plan as a best practice, revisiting the needs in our district. And in March of 2022, the board awarded the contract for the Maryland schematic design, which we have been working on since that time. Again, just a reminder of the facilities master plan goals identified. I'm going to talk about these a little bit more as we get into the specific scope of the project, but these were all identified and reviewed goals as part of the bond program. So now for a little bit more of the fun. I want to review the project scope, but I'm first going to orient you just a little bit since we're looking at an aerial image. The southern edge of that image, the front of the campus is Maryland Avenue. That's at the bottom of the image. And the northern portion of the image, again, at the top of the field or the slide, is Maynissen Park, just to help orient you a little bit. So the scope of this project, and I've highlighted those areas to make it easier to follow, the scope of this project includes a new parking lot and safer student drop-off area at the front of the campus. It also includes in the blue area identified as Building E, new classroom space, which includes 2 transitional kindergarten spaces and 2 new STEAM classrooms, and an expansion to the transitional kindergarten play space and renovation of the associated and continuous kindergarten play space. The project also includes renovation of Building K. That's the library building on campus. That would create research space and a 3rd STEAM classroom on the campus, and then also renovation of a current science lab on the campus, which would create a 4th STEAM classroom. And then on the existing buildings, on the image that you can see in A and B, we are proposing updating the fire alarm system on the campus and updating heating, ventilation, and air conditioning on the campus. This is also, I should note, an opportunity to support a very large instructional grant that we've received in the district to create a platform really to do the great instructional work that we have planned on this campus. This is again a view from Maryland Avenue looking at the front of the new building. What you see in the foreground, sort of the white with the louvers, is one of 2 transitional kindergarten classrooms. Staggered behind that is a 2nd transitional kindergarten classroom. The sort of blue brick portion of the building is 1 new STEAM classroom and associated support space, and then a bit further in the background of this image, an additional white area with louvers, and that is the 2nd new STEAM classroom on the campus, just to give you a little sense of it. The project is made possible as a result of state bond funding that we were awarded as part of our Measure J bond program. The district recently received $28.5 million from the state for as reimbursement, and we are recommending that $25 million of that receipt of state bond funds be allocated to enhance or to create this project. I also wanted to share just briefly while I'm on this slide some of how this project accomplishes all of really the goals identified in the facilities master plan. We are in this project addressing infrastructure on the campus and some existing building needs in terms of fire alarm and heating and air conditioning. It does support, as we talked about, the program for this campus and where we plan to go. It does do a very nice job of creating strong relationships with new space and existing space on the campus and making that seem seamless and continuous, really creating connectivity across the campus and really enhancing the front of this campus and the image that we're presenting. It also allows us to activate outdoor spaces, which was identified as a facilities master plan goal, with supporting courtyards and spaces in between buildings to allow for outdoor instruction. It is cost effective in that we are not going to need to do interim housing or temporary housing, so all of the improvements we're proposing will permanently stay on this campus and no temporary space will be needed. We're also using a combination of new classroom construction and modernization as a way to be cost effective with the resources that we have. And then ultimately it's constructible. It allows us to phase the construction in a way that allows program to continue seamlessly, and as always, a goal to maintain safe space for students and staff on the campus. So the next steps on this would be for us to refine the program, further develop project phasing in more detail, and then include any user group notification that we might need to do with regard to the project. We're also then going to move to preparing construction documents. The board will see in upcoming months the contract award associated with actually implementing this project and the contracts that will need to be done to do that, all in preparation for submission to the vision of the state architect, who, as you all know, approve our projects in California. And so the superintendent's recommendation is that our Board of Trustees authorize staff to proceed with the Maryland STEAM and renovation project. And as always, I'm happy to answer questions.
Okay. We have no cards on this. We'll close the public comment. Any questions from the board on this? Trustee Wong.
Is it too soon to have a sense of what the time frame for when this would happen?
Of course not.
Okay.
It's what we start thinking about, right? In our world, kind of back up from there, we could be under construction on this, our first phase of this, as early as next spring, 24.
Next spring. And so the construction would be happening while during the school year, but it can be separate enough that they could continue.
We do envision, and we will certainly return with a more detailed phasing plan, but we have already planned construction logistics and phasing that would allow us to keep program operating successfully and sequence the work in a way that it can be safe and effective. And I think you've seen we have a lot of history in the district of being able to do that successfully, and we have a plan for this campus as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Trustee Drone.
Can you, what's the difference between a STEAM class and a regular classroom? What are some of the features or functions of the space that make it, ideal for STEAM?
Really, it's very project-oriented space, so some of the things just practically are hard surface flooring so that you can do messy work, additional sinks for cleanup and wet projects, very often pull-down power reels so that power can be easily distributed around the room for project work. And typically slightly larger classrooms with a lot of flexibility to move inside of the space fairly easily.
Along that line, one of the concerns or issues that kind of came up as we were looking at some of the science specific, which I guess STEAM may, because you mentioned sinks, was the ratio, and to make sure that that ratio issue was addressed. I know that it sounded like some of the instructors had issues with just sink ratios. I guess when you do certain projects, they're in groups, and if the ratios aren't right, then it kind of backs it up and it messes up the flow. So, and it sounds like there wasn't really a standard.
I think we have an effective solution to that, but as we refine that program, we certainly can look at that again and address it if we need to. But I think we have a plan that will effectively meet it. It certainly has in other districts, but we most certainly could visit it with the staff specifically.
Okay. Nice. All right. No further questions on this? I'd entertain a motion on 10.5.
President Bueno, I move to authorize staff to proceed with the Maryland STEAM and renovation project. Did I do that okay?
Yes.
Second.
Oh. I'm going to go with Trustee Wong on that one. We have a motion by Trustee Druin in support of the superintendent's recommendation, and it has been seconded by Trustee Wong. Any discussion on the motion? Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll, please.
Myself, aye. Trustee Guzman.
Aye.
Trustee Druid.
Aye.
Trustee Wong.
Aye.
President Bueno.
Aye. That motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's going to be really big for that campus. When you couple that with all that's going on with program and the federal grant, there's a lot going on at Maryland. Okay, as we move in number 11, these are our consents. We do have a card, so I'd like to pull 11, 12.
Okay.
And outside of that, there's none others. We have no comment cards other than that.
Okay.
If someone would like to move them in their entirety, minus 11.12.
Okay. President Bueno, I move that we approve consent items 11.2 through 11.11, and then 11.13 through 11.15.
Thank
In
you.
their entirety. Well, minus.
Yeah, I second that.
As stated.
As stated.
Yeah, I
Okay.
second that.
Yanira.
Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Guzman.
Aye.
Trustee Druin.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Trustee Wong. President Bueno.
Aye. Motions as proposed, unanimous. And then I have a public comment card for 11.12. I'd like to call up Jerry Yallen. And this one is approval of proposed amendment to Measure J Citizens Bond Oversight Committee bylaws. Good evening. We gotta hit your button. Yep,
Is that better?
thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President, trustees, superintendent, members of cabinet. The item before you is to amend the bylaws of the Citizens Committee. And that's kind of a statement in and itself of the issue that I wish to advise you. This is informational. There's no action needed. It does not change how you likely would wish to vote, but that is, of course, your decision. There is a governance issue that shows up at this point. The Citizens Board is defined as an independent committee. The issue is, if it's an independent committee, should you be approving its bylaws after it's first initiated? The committee is independent, and so you appoint our membership, but once you appoint us, we act within the bylaws, within the function of an independent committee. And there are fights going on in other districts, not this one, about control of the reports that are coming up on bonds and whether the committees are truly independent. And if you take control of our bylaws, we're not independent. And that's the issue. And we're not asking to change the bylaws at this point, so we haven't proposed that the bylaws be changed in relation to this. But counsel for the district has advised that they believe that you have the authority to approve our bylaw changes, amendments. And it's the committee's view that the committee has the authority to change its bylaws, and that we report it to you as is the natural thing for us to do, but we don't ask you to approve it. So when this is presented to you, I want you to know we didn't vote to ask that you approve the amendments. We voted to approve the amendments. But it is still before you, and it's on your agenda for you to do as you choose at this time. And that's really it.
A clarifying question. Are you saying that there are no changes?
There are changes in the bylaws that we have proposed. We indicated to the staff that we wish to review our bylaws, a normal action for any entity to undertake. And the district brought in its counsel with a set of recommendations gentleman had gone through the bylaws, and he had suggestions for changes. And we agree with all of those proposed changes that council suggested. We added one additional change that was a grammar aspect of that the word proceeds, that we're supposed to report on our proceeds annually, but we don't have proceeds.
Correct.
We have proceedings.
Right.
And so that's the only other amendment that we asked be made. We did not ask that the approval process for the amendment be changed. But I'm here to let you know that there is a legal issue dangling out there, and it's an issue of governance. It's an issue of whether we are in fact an independent committee or whether we are a subsidiary committee. We have very limited authority. The only thing that we actually are required to do on an annual basis is give you one report that as to whether we believe that the activity that has occurred in the period in question, the audit period, whether the activity meets the requirements of Measure J, and that's it. We don't get to tell anybody what to do. We don't review bond contracts. That's your your prerogative. But if we're an independent committee, then we should be independent. And that's the issue. The issue is governance, independence of the committee. In some districts in the state, the committee is used by the board to benefit its own purposes. And I don't mean that they're doing evil things, but they use it as a control device to spend the money as they deem fit without an independent citizens board reviewing it. The reason that the committee exists is because the board elected chose to make Measure J a bond that would only require 55% approval. The committee is not necessary if you want to go for the larger approval rate provided for in the law, but that's pretty tough to do. And so the Citizens Committee is a relatively good investment for an easier political vote with the populace. And then the citizens remain involved, independent from the board itself. The board still gets to decide everything. All we can do is comment. And we are working on now on the next annual report. And I can't speak for the committee as a whole, but I find it unlikely that there's going to be any problems in our report. We don't have, we have a good relationship with the district. We don't really have any issues with how the bond system is being operated by this district at this time. But we're in a state where others are having big fights between their citizens groups and their boards, and where some boards are being accused of acting improperly by stacking committees. There's one district that reportedly every member of the citizens board is an ex-trustee or ex-administrator of the district. These aren't the kinds of things we're dealing with. We're not dealing with problems. But independence is still important. Governance is still important. And so I wanted to bring this up since the bylaws are before you. But we are not proposing a change in the bylaws in connection with this issue. But this is my chance to bring this to you. And this has been an extensive discussion item at several of the committee meetings. So it is a concern. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have no other cards on this item. Is there any discussion or questions from the board?
Yeah, I guess I just don't know, is this necessary? Like, what's the protocol legally? Like, if they make a policy change procedure, is that typically something that we approve? Do you know?
I'm going to have Kim speak to this. She's been present and oversees the committee.
I think I understand, you know, his concern. It just sets a precedent for us to, I guess, not have such the independence part of it. But I don't know, what is this like for other districts? Is this something that we are required to do? I don't know what it is.
Okay, so
Maybe you can
hopefully
help us.
I can clarify a little bit. So at our last committee meeting, the bylaws came to the committee for revision, mostly based on adjustments to law, not substantive, but minor adjustments in the law that the attorney recommended we update our bylaws to reflect. That came to our last CBOC. They ultimately approved those changes, as Mr. Yellen indicated, with a minor adjustment in a word. And then during that discussion, the committee expressed the concern about the independence issue and asked procedurally if we could have the committee approve and the board ratify. Staff had no objection to that philosophically and said we'd be happy to bring it to legal counsel. And if legal counsel's comfortable with that protocol, we'd be happy to make that adjustment in the approval process. Legal counsel came back to us and said that this is the appropriate procedure to follow, that the board should approve the bylaw adjustment. So again, staff certainly understood the concern of the committee and did bring it to legal counsel as a request, and legal counsel did not feel comfortable making that adjustment. So at least at this time.
Okay, that's helpful.
A question that I would have, Mr. Vinchak, is there's obviously maybe a philosophical question, and I won't pose that again here, but I would ask that the changes that have been made, I would imagine that if they're legal, that they're material to the bylaws, and I'd like to be able to see what those are, like with a strike through, underline, so we can actually see them, and then how they're referenced. In other words, what sections of law, what changed that caused the material changes to the bylaws, so that we can actually see those changes. And then, because I do believe with our speaker, Mr. Yellen, in that being here when we did the bond a couple times, this bond, J, and even on the parcel taxes, it is extraordinarily important for a matter of public trust that you have transparency and that independence. But also, we don't want to run astray of the goals, because one of the things we found through the bond folks that came in and did a lot of the numbers and things, it's really specific language. And so it might have to be more of a cooperative effort, because the committee doesn't have legal advice. In some cases, someone might be an attorney, but not serving in that capacity. So to use to the extent that we're able to give them independence legally, maintaining that, but also there are oversight on the bond, but in this kind of a strange relationship, we're kind of the oversight of everything, like the general umbrella. And so we don't want it to run astray of the district's goals. And I think it's prudent that we have legal advice come in, and maybe we can work some type of arrangement with the committee to maintain their independence, but yet have legal advice so that we stay in concert with whatever current law is. It sounds like these material changes were because of changes in the law that I know certainly I'm not going to be aware of without the intervention of legal.
They were relatively minor changes, actually, mostly cleanup language, but we'd be more than happy to give you a red line version so you can see exactly.
Okay, that's something that as a board we would like to see. So yeah, if we could supply that to us, so we can see what those changes are.
Yeah, I don't think we were in disagreement with really the intent philosophically. Yeah. It made perfect sense that that they could make changes and the board ratify the changes. It was just when legal counsel weighed in and said, no, you can't do it that way. That was when we took a step back and said, we'll have to go with what legal counsel recommends. So we'll get some citations on that and determine the specificity of the law that creates that. But it could be that the law is ambiguous and our legal counsel viewed it in one way and the CBOC viewed it in a different way.
Right. We've always ran that. I mean, the public trust that we enjoy has largely been reinforced by our independent citizens' oversight on both the parcel tax and the bond measure. So certainly, I haven't heard anything to the contrary that we want to undo that. But in this instance, the philosophical side's been brought to our attention, and maybe we can just have legal actually look at that, with that spirit. Okay.
Are we aware of any specific rush on this?
That was my
No, the board certainly has the latitude to delay this another month.
Okay.
Do that.
Would that be the pleasure of the board? Let's set this one aside and, these things, I mean, we're dealing with millions of dollars, and it's always best to have, let's get these right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So we're going to table this one. It's 11.12.
We'll provide more information.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. That puts us into, so we've got that one, 11.12 is table till next time, and we'll move that. Consent resos, now 12.2 and 12.3 we've taken care of. So we have resolution, consent reso 39 and 40.
Okay.
If someone would like to move those.
Yeah, President Bueno, I move that we approve resolution number 39 and number 40 in their entirety.
I second.
We have a motion by trustee Prusso. It's been seconded by trustee Wong. And I would just add that on 39 and 40, the fiscal year is 22/23 on both.
Sorry.
Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll.
Trustee Guzman.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Trustee Druin.
Aye.
Trustee Wong.
Aye.
President Bueno.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Our consent item that we've tabled it, so we're not going to have it in 13. And then we'll start with trustee Guzman this evening on board reports.
Thank you. All right, since our last board meeting, I'm happy to hear that the school district and the teachers union have successfully completed negotiations. In addition, it was a joy to attend the CTA, California Teachers Association breakfast with our LEA negotiation team and the entire school board. It's also great to get to know one another on a more personal level. It's always pleasing. Furthermore, I'm looking forward to attending the Winter Show Queens at Livermore High School this week and attending the Choose Love Morning Assembly at Smith Elementary early next month. I'd also like to remind the community that there is free math tutoring available for our students Tuesday evenings at Livermore High. As some of you know, I am also a parent of 2 children, and they sometimes need academic assistance that I am unable to provide. But I was able to reach out to Trustee Wong, and she reminded me of the tutoring services that professionals and other community members from the lab offer weekly. So my kiddos and I will be attending those evening sessions, which I need help because I look at these problems and I'm like, what? So thank you for the reminder.
Just the corrections on Wednesday nights.
Tomorrow
Yeah,
tomorrow's Wednesday, but moving forward, it'll still be on Tuesday?
No, it's always on Wednesdays.
Oh, it's always on Wednesdays. Okay, correction. Wednesday evenings.
Tomorrow night is at Civic Center Library because of Expo and something at
Okay.
St. Michael's. Normally, it's in the LHS library.
Thank you. Trustee Wong.
I want to thank both the district and LEA negotiation teams for working together through, these are not easy, especially with people that you're colleagues with. And both sides have worked really hard and done a great job. And the board certainly really appreciates everyone's professionalism and great attitude throughout. So thank you to the district and LEA negotiation folks. Let's see, we had the Tri-Valley SELPA Resource and Transition Fair, which was really great. I was especially impressed to see so many, I think there were like 25 Granada student volunteers, all in SELPA t-shirts, running around, great attitude, great energy. And also our SELPA Senior Director, Nanette Gray, for all the great work on that. Let's see, I attended the Chamber of Commerce monthly mixer, and it was great at one of my favorite restaurants downtown, La Conda Wine Bar. We had another Equity and Inclusion Committee meeting, which is great, and there's another one this week. I also attended the Algebra Task Force, which I'm sad to no longer be on, but the two trustees who serve on it weren't available, so I got to attend. And we received a Desmos training by Granada teacher John Thayer, and it was great. It's really cool to see how teachers are using it and can use it with their math students. We had a special board workshop on the budget, which is, these are my favorite parts of being on school board, is participating in those meetings, and it was so well done. Really appreciate our superintendent and staff for all the work that goes into putting these workshops together. Let's see, and then Saturday, I attended Science on Saturday, which is every Saturday in February, and it was so great. It was on supercomputers at Las Positas. The event was at Las Positas, and it's the supercomputer is not at Las Positas, but it's a collaboration between the lab and Lawrence Livermore Lab and a teacher, and they put these presentations together. It was really fun. The last one is this coming Saturday, and it's on 3D printing, so don't miss that. And then a few upcoming events, Wednesday and Thursday this week, TK and kindergarten enrollment fair at the Robert Livermore Center. As I said earlier, LHS Expo on Wednesday, so the tutoring will be a Civic Center library this week. And then there's an IB diploma meeting at Granada on Thursday evening. So any parents and students who have any interest in the IB diploma program, definitely go. I've attended them. They're really well done. It's only an hour. And then lastly, Family Science Day at Livermore Library on Saturday, 1 to 3. That's it.
Thank you very much. Trustee Drone.
Sure. So I've had some fun experiences. I too attended the CTA breakfast. It was fantastic to see so many school board members and to get an introduction to community schools, which, as with most things, as soon as I hear about it, it comes up multiple times afterwards. I also attended the Tri-Valley Educational Collaborative with Jason as well as other members of Livermore, which looks at career and technical education programming between Dublin, Pleasanton, and Livermore. Christy Woods from Las Positas came and talked about pathways from TK-12 into Las Positas and then to CSU East Bay, which is, it's just fantastic. It's fun to be here and just to be like, that's great. I can't believe we do that. It's really an asset for members of our community. So that was wonderful to be a part of, and I look forward to participating more in CTE moving forward. Let's see. I'm also looking forward to, in the future, Read Across America is March 2nd, hoping to read some books about dragons and tacos, as well as why we should not let pigeons drive school buses. And Las Positas is having their open house March 25th from 10 to noon. There's info sessions, food trucks, music, and activities, so you should show up if you can. That's what I got.
Thank you very much. Trustee Pruso.
Thank you. I feel like I'm going to be echoing Trustee Wong for a few things that we attended together. But also, I just wanted to say we had our teachers in here today. I think they're grateful that the negotiations are complete, as probably is everyone. But I did want to congratulate the entire team, the district team who worked really hard with our LEA, and just as Trustee Wong said, everyone was very professional and worked really hard to come to this conclusion. And I'm super grateful about that because it's not something that I have any expertise in. So I'm happy to see that we have people who we can trust who can get that done. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to them. Was able to attend the apprenticeship fair at Livermore High School, and we had all the trades were there, and including the lab, who they were there with some specialized apprenticeships that you're not going to get anywhere else, which was very exciting. It was exciting to see the kids going around and realizing what a great option the trades could be for them, and coming out of high school, how much money they could be making in the trades. So hope it's not a path for everyone, but it is going to be a path for some of them. So I think it was really great and a good turnout. Also was able to attend the CTA breakfast with all of my fellow trustees, which was really fun for us to all be together and to be there with our LEA reps. We had the Health and Wellness Committee where we, a thing that keeps coming up is nutrition and working on getting the cupcakes out of the classrooms, I guess. I'm personally not opposed to that, but apparently it's not a good thing when you have 25 students in the class and they want to bring cupcakes on their birthdays. So it's always a hot topic. So, but there were also obviously other things that we discussed in health and wellness that are important regarding to the health and wellness of the students in the district. And then also the board workshop, I just wanted to say thank you to the team here and to Superintendent Van Schack for putting together all of the information for us. Obviously, we do have some budget issues that we need to work through, and just grateful that we have people who can put together what's necessary, what's not necessary, and put all the numbers there for us so that we can make some decisions. So that's my report.
Thank you very much. The Alcosta Breakfast, I appreciate the invite. The Alcosta Breakfast, it's an alliance between many of the CTA, which is California Teachers Association, through Alameda and Contra Costa County. So it gives board members an opportunity to sit down and actually hear some input from elected representatives from both counties. It's a very broad array, and to be able to sit down, kind of exchange some ideas a little bit and listen to some of the things that they're doing. And we were one of the few groups that, when you look at cooperative efforts, we're one of the few groups of the many people who were there that had their entire board there. So it's a really good sign of cooperation, and I think it goes to the point of how Trustee Wong was saying that the appreciation for both our administration and our LEA, the Livermore Education Association, which is affiliated, their umbrella is California Teachers Association, and that cooperative effort and their expertise and their skill at negotiating and working cooperatively to identify needs and to solidify our ability to attract and retain the best people, because that is going to give the students of Livermore the best opportunity at education, and that is vital. It was a concern, and so I really appreciate the effort that went into that. And then that kind of goes into the budget workshop that we did. And working cooperatively with folks, you can identify areas where you can save money here and save money there, so that we can maintain our fiscal solvency. And we're going through a transition there. I acknowledged that earlier to Ms. Kinder, and I really appreciate that, of what you've done over the years. And Ms. Fiscus coming in, it's a high level of trust in what you've done. You've done an excellent job in that, and I think it's being able to manage that side and being able to identify where your monies lie. There's been significant work that's gone into this district, which was once considered a low wealth district, to show and illustrate that we're getting the same amount with all the different supports for our students as the surrounding districts, and that should help bolster our ability to attract and retain the absolute best people. I was able to go to the PCIC, which is the Parents Club. It's PTAs, PTOs. It's very well attended. It's an integral group in this city, and I think it's one of the anchors of public trust, where there's a lot of transparency and people can come and share their ideas between campuses, matters of equity and opportunity for kids, fundraising, things like that. So it's a really, really a special group to be able to go to. And just one thing, the girls at Granada basketball won their semifinals game against James Logan tonight, so they'll be going to the state championship, and they qualify for North Coast section. And the boys at Granada have already done so, going to the state qualifier. So very nice. That's it.
Exciting times. Very good.
Mr. Van Schack.
Good news. Thank you, President Bueno. So it is a very busy and eventful time of the year as we get going full speed on enrollment and course selections for next year. We look forward to connecting with our new TK and kindergarten students over the next couple of days, while our high school students start the process of making their course selections for next year. Based upon that information, we will know where our teacher vacancies are, and we will begin our recruiting process. The second trimester, believe it or not, will end next Thursday, and for our class of 2023, their final trimester of high school will begin. We know how memorable that final trimester will be, and we're eager to watch it play out for the nearly 1,000 exceptional young men and women we have here in Livermore. It'll culminate with the graduation ceremonies on June the 9th, so we look forward to that. We're extremely thankful to all our educators who have made Black History Month come alive for our students. They have skillfully woven a number of relevant and impactful lessons into their daily plans, highlighting the accomplishments of many who have been traditionally overlooked. Finally, I want to thank our board members for their continued engagement in the many activities throughout the district. By getting out to schools and participating in the lives of our students, you continue to show our community what hands-on leadership truly looks like. So we're definitely better off for that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. No further business. 2120, adjourn.